Hello and welcome to a brand new series of the Paul Weller Fan Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 1. I'm Dan Jennings, and 10 years ago I gave up my life... Hold on, we've done that. No. Desperately seeking Paul no longer. Yes, what started out as that silly idea created in lockdown and that true story of giving up my life as a radio presenter with that one big regret, never getting to interview my hero, the legendary singer, songwriter and musician Paul Weller, and what became a frankly ridiculous 3-year labour of love and a series of 180 episodes, it culminated an incredible 2-hour interview with Paul Weller at the end of 2023. And thankfully, the reaction was incredible, off the scale, amazing feedback from all of you, so thank you so much. But here's the thing, what I couldn't say at the time was that Paul and the team at Paul Weller HQ also asked if I'd interview Paul about the new album, 66, content that was going to be filmed and used in the promotional push for the album. So of course I said yes. And then it came. And obviously Paul would like you to hear the album, first of all. Okay, well, yeah, if he insists, that's fine. What followed then was a WeTransfer from the wizard, Charles Rees, along with the track listing of the album, a heap of notes. And then a second email came, all the bonus songs as well, right? And I know he wanted you to have it all. He wanted you to have everything. And the funny thing was I was about to take the kids swimming, so I couldn't listen to it at the time. But as I dive in, what an amazing album this is, 66. So here's the thing, that gave me an idea. Yes, I'd love to interview Paul. You're going to hear that in a second. And a real honour. But what we've also got coming up in the next couple of weeks, a massive box set of interviews with loads of people involved in the album. We're talking Steve Brooks, Josh McClory, Le Super Armand, Christophe Lalonde. We're talking band members, Ben Cordelia, Tom Van Heel, New Boy, Jake Fletcher will tell his story, and much more. Even Suggs is going to pop up on this podcast series, okay? So what we're doing here with Mr. Weller, we're going to take a track-by-track walk through the album. We're going to talk about why it's called 66. We're going to talk about many of those collaborations. People like Suggs, Noel Gallagher, Dr. Robert, all involved in this LP. So we'll talk about that. And there's a great thing about this as well. You can listen to it right now, but then when the album comes out, when you've got that in your home, have another listen as well, because it hopefully gives you a real flavour into the making of this LP. And I should say an LP which already the reviews are coming in, and these things are just incredible. I mean, Record Collector just come out, 5 stars. It's from Daryl Eastley. I won't read it all, obviously, but you should go and buy the magazine. But he does say, Paul Weller's electric autumn that began with 22 Dreams effortlessly continues, and this may be the best installment yet. I mean, that's saying something, right? Hey, look, let's get into it. Paul Weller, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
We're here to talk about 66.
Yep.
The new album. That always feels good saying that. The new album from Paul Weller.
Yep.
Talk to me about the creation of this album. So off the back of Fat Pop,
yep,
where we'd had lockdown, your reaction was to get straight back in the studio, go again, do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not that far on, and we're here another album. It was again to keep going.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, what else is there? I mean, metaphorically, existentially, I mean, you have to just keep going, don't you?
Was it that there was so much left in the...
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't anything left after Fat Pop. It was just, it's the usual thing, I suppose, with most albums. It's like, I'll get 1 or 2 songs, which I come down here and demo, and then they turn into something, and you go, oh, that's nice, Then there's like 1 or 2, then there's 3 or 4, like cells, and then they start multiplying a bit more, and then...
Like a living organism.
Yeah, and then, it is, and then after a while... all of a sudden you've got like 6 or 7 or 8 songs and you think, well, it's over an album, half an album there, so it just leads you on like that. You just follow that trail in a sense,
So the intention isn't necessarily to go in and go, I'm now creating an album. Let's just see where this goes.
It wasn't, no. And it wasn't even with this record. It was just, I had quite a few songs and they were all quite eclectic. So they weren't necessarily, and they haven't necessarily all ended up in the album. But after a while, they increase and you get more and more songs and more ideas. And then all of a sudden you've got an album, Yeah.
Why 66, the title?
Because that's the age I'm going to be when it comes out. I was trying to get it on my birthday, but it's going to be on the 24th, which is a Friday before my birthday. Well, I don't know, it amused me anyway.
Okay.
I've even got this far down the road with it all. I was also influenced by Adele as well. She always names her albums 19 and 27 and whatever. So I thought, I'll have some of that. So yeah, it amuses me.
Thing is, with your albums, there'd be one almost every year if you use the number. Well, she's got a big old gap between hers, right?
Yes, yeah. I never understand that. I never understand taking 7 years off or 5 years off. I don't know what people would do with their lives in that in between time.
I was looking at the number 66, thinking there's all these deep hidden meanings into it, and because it's quite a spiritual number in terms of it means balance, harmony, a sense of power that can help people reach their goals, positive energy. These are all things maybe you can use in future interviews, Paul, if you want to.
Yeah, I'll use them in interviews. Thanks for that, man. Yeah, there was all those ideas. Glad you said that because I didn't even realise, Yeah. But it's the same with like Saturn's pattern. It was just a silly title I thought of, and I didn't even realise that Saturn, the planet, actually does have a pattern. So sometimes it's just whatever comes to me at the time, really. And then you also find other meanings in those things afterwards, I think, as well. There's not so much conscious thought put into them, I don't think.
I guess also 66 has these in history, like there's the World Cup 66, England. I mean, I know you're not one to look back on past glories, but as a nation we do, and we talk about that still to this day.
We still do, yep.
You know, and they was performing at Wembley, so I was like, there's all these hidden things.
No, sadly no. But they can be whatever you want it to be, though, Dan.
Okay. Let's talk about the tracks that are on the album and the players that are on the album. If it was to have a theme, the album itself, would you think it has one? Is there a connection between it all?
I don't know if it has or not, to be honest. I'm too close to it at the moment to say. But originally it was going to be a double album. I had like 20-odd songs or more. And I just couldn't really make it hang together. It didn't sound like an album. It was too eclectic, but not in the same way that 22 Dreams was, say. It just didn't work. It was kind of too uneven and unbalanced. So I whittled it down to 12 tracks now. And then the others are going to be like bonus tracks and possibly an EP as well later on.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to hear the album. Here we are, December 2023. This is pre-Christmas, folks. The album's not out till next May, like you say.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to very small circle of people hearing this thing. And as a Weller fan, this is just an incredible experience on its own. But then you go, oh man, this is special again, like again and again and again. And it feels like it's an album that's about searching for something, not necessarily finding it, but it's a very soulful sounding album as well.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any sort of central themes on it. There's a little bit of melancholia on it, a bit of resignation on it, I think. But I'm just plucking these ideas out of thin air, to be honest with you, because I don't know. I wasn't conscious of any sort of themes at all on the album, really. There's quite a few songs where I haven't written the words. Other people have written them. Noel's done some lyrics for one song. Bobby Gillespie, Erlen Cooper, the song with Dr. Robert, and Suggs, of course, yeah, and 2 songs with Suggs as well. So that was quite nice. I didn't have so much to say, I guess, and anything I did say I put into the other songs and I was happy with. But otherwise, I was quite happy to sort of farm them out to other people and ask them if they got any ideas. I think originally I was thinking about doing like a duets record at one time, but I couldn't really think how to go about doing that. So it's kind of as close as I could get to that, I suppose, in a way, to get someone else to write the words. And
yeah, there was a bit of that on True Meanings, but you had co-writes, and it's incredible how these things still sound like you. They're still Paul Weller in that sense, you know what I mean? And you could start reading things into the lyrics, which I've done on some of these tracks, and then you realise that actually the words have been written by somebody else, and you're like, okay, we're all writing about human emotion and human connections in a way.
Yeah, you know, say like with the thing with the song with Bobby, there's a lot of them that I sort of just think, I would love to have said that myself, you know, or with Erland, you know, on Burnout. So I suppose we're all going through similar experiences, aren't we, in life, you know, not just in music or whatever, but I mean, just in life. So they're general things I guess a lot of people could relate to, really.
Let's talk about the album opener, Ship of Fools, created with Suggs. Yeah,
Suggs sent me the words, not for anything, he just sent me them, like a kind of poem, I suppose, really. And they just, they worked with this tune I had. I don't know I do know what Suggs is, what they meant to him, but I thought they were about Boris Johnson and all these Tory cronies. That's what I thought it was. All these idiots leading us into the abyss. But it could be applied on a world stage as well, you know, all these egg cases. So for me, that's what it's about, you know.
Yeah, I took that from it as well.
Yeah.
But do you think Suggs meant something entirely different?
I do, but it's not for me to speak for him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And was it always intended to be an album opener? How do you decide where that fits on the LP?
I thought it was kind of different enough to be an opener. We normally have sort of like a fast tune that opens an album. I suppose like a set. I suppose like a live set.
Like White Sky type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I thought, it'd be nice to do something different. I don't know if I've ever opened with an acoustic song, but I like the mood of it. And and Jacko's great on it. His flute playing. But I just thought it was different. I thought it was a different sort of opener for me.
Yeah, Jacko's on the album a lot.
Yeah.
Back in the band.
Yeah.
Since the On Sunset live gig that was here, the internet gig that was here. Such a brilliant player. And has added so much to the live shows as well. It's great. But he's throughout the album on flute, on sax, such an important part of the mix.
Yeah. I just think his playing is just, I mean, he's always been good, but now he's just exceptional, I think. And I just love hearing him play. Yeah, it's been great, actually, us getting back together, and we're both older and wiser and better. We're better players, that's the thing.
Another guy who's gone off and done something entirely different, Max Beasley, features on that track.
Yeah, that was nice, and I'm getting Max back in as well. That's because we started to see each other more in the recent years. And a few years ago, I was in LA one time, not on tour, maybe on holiday, I can't remember now. And Max got me to come down to a studio and do a vocal on a song, which hasn't come out. It's such a shame.
Song for Sabrina, this is, isn't it? Yeah.
Have you ever heard it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's wicked, yeah. So anyway, that kind of rekindled that a little bit. I've not, I hadn't really seen him properly for a long time. And then he was over here filming. Yeah, just got him down. Him and Jacko was at the same time. And that was great to hear them two playing together as well.
Because, I mean, they were part of the band right at the beginning of the solo years, yeah?
Yeah, totally, yeah. Well, Max was like, he was only like 17 or 18 when he joined me. And it was like his first proper gig. He was at college before that, music college. I think the same one that Jacko was at, and Omar as well. So he was only a kid when he joined us, That was just so funny. Them days, it was so chaotic and like a mental youth club on the road, And no one really knew what we were doing. I certainly didn't. I was supposed to be the band leader, and I didn't have a clue, I was totally like a fish out of water, man. It was just, I went for that weird time at the end of the Style Council, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And there's only my dad, who was my manager at the time, in a very pragmatic way, he said, listen, we've got to go out and earn some money. We're skint. So, okay. And, which I didn't really want to do, but I'm glad that I did. So I met a lot of people around that time, Jacko and Max. Yeah. So we got that kind of history behind us as well,
And both great players. I mean, Max is brilliant at what he does and the vibes and and all that. And Jacko, we talked about. Yeah. You mentioned Fish. So if there was a theme on the album, the first two tracks do both reference Fish. And for a minute there, I thought this might be a Bob Mortimer, Paul Whitehouse thing where gone fishing. Flying Fish is track number 2.
Yeah.
This was, on my first listen through to the album, this was the one that was most immediate to the point it was like stuck in my head immediately for days. And I absolutely love it. I can already hear it as a live song.
Hopefully, yeah. I don't know how it will work on stage or not, but we'll certainly try it. Well, that was probably like the first song I tried, the first song on the album that we started work on, I think. Anyway, it's quite electronic sort of sounding. And I think at one time maybe I was thinking the album's going to be like that, possibly, which it wasn't at all. But that was kind of like the sort of blueprint in some ways. I thought this is how the record's going to go, and it changed. It didn't happen that way.
Le Super Armade involves in a couple of tracks on the album, but this one he's got co-write credits, but this one he's playing on. And is that a remote thing, or did he get Christoph? Did he come over?
We just sent it to him, with the wonders of modern science. You can just send stuff off to people and send it back, and it's brilliant, really. So he put some synths on it for us, And then who else on it? And Josh is on it. Josh McClory is playing bass on that.
And he was part of the live setup. I'm trying to think when it was now, end of 22 maybe.
Yeah.
So was this you'd been on the road and you came in? It
was the end of 21, right?
Oh, okay.
He did us one tour or a couple of tours of us, I think, anyway. And obviously I knew him before that with the Stripes. They've supported us before. Just a phenomenal player, incredible player, great guy as well. Yeah, but he just came down one day and I don't know, he might have just popped in, I don't know. It's one of those things.
That's the danger, coming in for a cup of tea. Well, not the danger, the great thing, I suppose, You're on an album.
Yeah. That does often happen that way, though, spontaneous thing.
Yeah. The song takes a different direction, like halfway through, where you think it's going off, and there's it was the look out bit, which got really stuck in my head. And I thought, is that a different song that you brought into this? Was it just something you felt that this song needed to go off in that way?
I don't think I didn't have a middle part for it. So I just made something up on the spot. There's nothing else behind that, just that.
It felt like that could be a follow-on, like a song of its own almost, where it goes off. But
yeah.
And I gather it was like a much longer song at one point and then got kind of cut down, I guess.
Pruned it down a bit, yeah. Just shortened it and made it more compact.
Track 3, Jumble Queen, a song that we would have seen on the European tour. In fact, I did in Amsterdam back in May as something called Take.
Yeah.
Then European tour starts again, tail of the summer. And there's a song called Jumble Queen on the set list. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, he's doing another new one. I'm missing out. And it's the same song. Two things. One is that advantage of road testing a song live, changing how it then sounds on an album, because you come back and tweak things, presumably. But how do you decide on an end title? It goes through different variations.
Well, I just thought Take was a very boring sort of title, really. and Noel thought it should be called Jumble Queen. I was like, yeah, I think you're probably right.
Wasn't it Bad Honey at one point as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, they go. I mean, it's like the same with the words as well. They go through lots of different changes. I'm changing a lot of it up until the last minute as well, you know. But no, yeah, it was great. Yeah, I just sent in the backing track, so I ain't got any ideas for this. And like 20 minutes later, he sent the lyrics back, you know.
But hold on, 20 minutes later.
It was definitely no longer than that, for sure, yeah. And they just all worked, yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
and was he singing it to your backing track? Was it, how did he?
He didn't sing it, he just sent me the words,
Right.
and they scanned, and he obviously knew what, you know, I sang the melody on the track I sent him, and he just wrote to that.
Right.
Same with Bobby.
And road testing a song, so taking that out, you've always done this, taking the song out before it's out. You know, there's always
Yeah.
songs you've introduced, like Wildwood introduced before you put it down to record.
Yeah.
Had you recorded it, then took it out live, then decided actually you wanted to tweak things, or?
No, it was pretty much done. I think the actual track we'd finished already. We might have come back from that tour and maybe tweaked the mix, possibly, make it a little bit more raw. Maybe that came from the live thing, but I don't know if they got, you know, too much connection sometimes.
One of the things I love about the fact that like, you're saying like these are Noel's words. Noel's not here, obviously, so I can't ask him about the meaning of these things. That's quite a nice little deflection, isn't it, in a way? Because
It's fun with me, man. Yeah.
the take what you want, take all that you want from me.
Yeah.
When we've seen the headlines recently from Noel and what he's going from.
Yeah, but that's reading too much into things.
Are we?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It's easy done, right? And I understand how people arrive at that, but I don't know if it ever works like that way. You know, I don't know if, me personally, I don't always know what correlation it's got between what I write and what's happening in my private life. I don't know if there's any, doesn't always cross over, you know.
No. And you're not necessarily going to put those things that happen in the private life out into the public necessily in the turmoil.
Me
and whatever,
personally,
maybe.
I'm not that sort of writer, man. I don't want to write an album about divorce and all that, you know, it's like okays. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's talk about the next track, because this, again, has a really special story. This is track 4, Nothing. Such a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
And another Suggs connection.
It is, yeah. He sent me, this is probably a 2 a.m. thing. But anyway, he sent me this poem, beautiful poem, Nothing, which is the bulk of the lyrics. I naturally thought it was his. I was like, wow, I like that. I had some music I thought it would work on, right? But it was also the words, the poem came from his friend called Chalky, who I've never met. I spoke to him on the phone, and he lives in a caravan on the south coast somewhere. And I think his poem was about him and Suggs when they were kids growing up together, right?
Oh, right.
And then, but by that time, I'd already fitted these words to my tune. I was like, this really works well, you know. And then Suggs wrote some words for the chorus part. And I spoke to Chalky and I said to him, is it okay if we use these lyrics, man, you know? Which he was very, very happy about, you know. You have to see that his words come to life, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little story, man. I think, you know, he's not a professional writer. He's not a poet or songwriter. He's just a fella who wrote this poem, heartfelt poem.
And it's a love song, really.
I could take it on many levels, right? I could think about me and my family, how we started off with fuck all and then where we got to. And for Suggs and Chalky, it's different experience. You know, it works on all sorts of levels, I think.
But you obviously have to get that connection between somebody else's lyrics for it to become a Paul Weller song.
Well, I immediately connected with the words, you know. I thought they were not only simple and beautiful, but I read my own meaning into it, as we all do with all songs. We all read our own meaning and find our own meanings in these things, or any sort of art. It's not always important what the writer intends, you know, it's what you get from it. I think that's the most important thing, because I can think of many, many songs when I was growing up that certain lines in certain songs meant so much to me. And then when I found out later on what it was really about or not about, or was just made up on the spot, whatever, but it doesn't really matter, does it? You see, it's what that means to you at that time and what it means to you.
We also got some great brass on that. Stone Foundation boys playing on that.
General, yeah.
And also Steve Brown on Moog. Now, this is not the old punk legend. This is the producer who also happens to be Corinne Bailey Ray's longtime music collaborator and now husband.
Yeah.
And Corinne's not on the album.
She's not, but she was down here. We did some writing together. She wanted to try some writing together. So she came down with Steve as her husband and their little one. We did whatever we were doing. And then I knew Steve played keyboards and I said, can you come and do some Moog for us, you know? And that was it. 2 takes later and he's done it. And, but it's great though. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, great playing on it. Again, you know, it's just one of those things, improvised, spontaneous thing. Someone's around and they, you know, they can play. It's just like, can you try this? Do you mind trying this?
And there are times when that works and times when it doesn't, right? So
and if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, no props.
This is the first as well where we're getting, we're getting strings on it, but not actual strings. So this is an instrument called the Selena, which you play. Yeah. Which is like a string
synth, yeah. And it was very popular in the 70s, probably kind of following on from the Mellotron, I suppose, like pre-recorded sort of sounds and all that. But yeah, what would you like to know about the Selena?
Well, we can do a deeper history on that later on. One of the things that really strikes me about this album, though, is that you can hear everything on it.
Yeah.
Was that important that every single element had to be heard for it to be on the album, for it to be on a song?
Yeah, there wasn't too much of a brief on the album, but I did say less is more, right? I wanted to be able to hear all the instruments and have a sense of space, especially on that track as well, particularly on Nothing. But generally, I think, we probably lost a lot of things, more than what we actually put on. We probably lost a lot of stuff, to be honest, to create that space, you know.
So like stripping it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Next track up is called My Best Friend's Coat. This is one of two songs on the album written with Christophe Vallon from the Super Armade. And I know you were real big into that band, their albums, the first EP, the first album and stuff. How did you two connect to create this?
He knew that I liked his stuff, and then he did a remix. He did a remix of On Sunset, the actual track, which was great as well. Yeah, I'm just a fan of what he does, you know, and he's got that sort of French, Gaelic sense of melody and sense of chords and harmony. And I don't know how to explain it. You can hear it in the music, but I don't know how to explain it because I don't really know what they do. But it's a very definite sort of sound to it. And I wish I knew what it was because I would do it myself, but I don't know. But it's just something in it, you know. And so he's just sent me some demos because I said to him, if you ever fancy trying some writing and stuff. So he sent me a few backing tracks, maybe half a dozen. But as soon as I heard the backing track for what became My Best Friend's Coat, I think I was bathing my kid, my daughter, and I was just playing it, just, you know, listening to it. And then straight away, I could hear the melody and I could hear almost like the first verse. So it kind of came really quickly, you know, I could sort of see the whole picture, you know. I was trying to imagine, right, that it was a French, well, it is a French song, but it's a French lyric that I'm now translating into English, right? I don't know why, but that's what I thought. And I thought that was a kind of little brief in my head anyway. So I was trying to work in that kind of very dramatic thing that's in a lot of French music, you know, the obvious things like Brel and Edith Piaf and all that. Almost like them torch songs, that sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Chanson thing. So I was trying to sort of approach it from that point of view, you know, and it's not biographical in any way. I'm just drawing on some of my own experiences. But really, I'm trying to, I was imagining this kind of heart-wrenching sort of lyric that you get in a lot of them old French songs, you know. That's what I was imagining anyway. It's
this power to paint a picture as well. This person who's like, it starts in the depths of despair.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we hear the story of the drink and the drugs and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that bit's true. But
Strings, the first one that we hear on the album with Hannah Peel's string arrangements, recorded at Abbey Road.
Amazing, man, yeah. Expensive day out, but worth it. Because we did quite a few tracks. We did 5 or 6 tunes there. Just the sound was incredible. Number 2, you know. Yeah, it just worked really well. We did 2 3-hour sessions, like old school thing as well, you know, little break in between and all that. And we even finished before we were supposed to as well.
And this is the Britain Symphonia.
Well, they're amazing players.
Really adventurous in their playing, aren't they? And they're like really real big supporters of young talent as well, which I think is,
I don't know much about them, but I thought they were incredible anyway.
Let's talk Rise Up Singing. So this was a song initially created with Dr. Robert from the Blow Monkeys for the Monks Road Social Project.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, I did a version, right? Robert had the backing track and I added some stuff to it over here because he's based in Spain. And it eventually did come out, but not like anyone noticed. It was kind of just fizzled out, really. And I thought it was too good to just to let it go, you know. So we re-recorded everything, added strings and brass. I thought it should have more attention than what it did. I mean, I don't even know people knew it was out, man. You know, it just kind of escaped, you know what I mean? So I just thought it deserved to be heard. I thought it was a good little song. And really, I was thinking of like, you know, Mavis Staples, really, when I was singing that. I could imagine Mavis singing that tune. It had that vibe to me anyway. Very uplifting and positive message.
It's a great song. And it's the first one on the album that features Steve Craddock.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was here. Leah, your daughter, Leah Weller, is singing on that as well.
Yeah, she did backing vocals. That's right, yeah.
And Marco Rees, so Charles Rees, your engineer's son.
Yeah.
And your godson, is that right?
My godson as well, yeah. Well, again, Marco was here, you know, and it's like, I think he was maybe getting a sound together for me. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, he just played that little wah-wah thing. I was like, yeah, we'll have that. That's how it goes.
Brilliant, isn't it? So it's good enough. That's on the record.
Yeah. If it works, man, it works, you know. You haven't got to think about it too long. It's just says, does it work?
It fits so well with I know that, we talked about there being a theme or not being a theme, but it does fit so well with the sound and the flow of that album. My guess was that's the end of side one.
Yeah. That's right.
Do you think like that and go, okay, this is how an album closes, and then this next song we're going to talk about, I Woke Up.
Yeah,
that's the start for side two. Yeah. You still think in that way?
Always, yeah. Regardless of CDs or digital, digital releases, whatever. For me, it's always side one and side two. Yeah, it's that vinyl that matters to me.
Let's talk about side two then. Opens up with this song, I Woke Up. Where does the inspiration for a song like that come from? It starts with the guitar, acoustic guitar, you singing, I woke up, everything had gone, my house was not my home when I woke up. Mm. When I woke up, everything had changed, we talk about in the lyric as well.
Yeah.
Where had everybody gone?
I don't know. It's not any metaphorical meaning to it, anything really. I mean, again, it'd be one of those songs that people will read whatever they want into it or take whatever they want from it. For me, it was just a little story, waking up with everything's entirely changed, but not because that's what I went through or that's what I felt. I don't know why. I just wrote it and I wrote it and hope for the best. And, but I knew it was a good song and I like the melody and I like the words as well. They're intriguing, I don't know what they mean. I've no idea. Probably don't mean anything.
It's that idea, like I was talking about at the beginning, of this idea of trying to find your role in the world, your place, always questioning, that type of thing came across to me. But I heard that Hannah, when she first heard it, because again, it's got strings on, Hannah Peel cried when she first heard this song.
Yeah, that bad, yeah. What have they done to my strings? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I heard that as well.
That emotional connection, that power of music. And the other thing that comes across to me, particularly on, so much of this album, but how in control you are of your voice and how you use this as an instrument.
Well, I think it's got better, my voice, it's improved over the last few years, I think. And in fact, to be quite honest, I think I can only sing properly now. I didn't before. And I think that's only been in the last, 5 years, 6 years or something like that for me, really. Which is another reason why I get frustrated if I hear old stuff of mine, old tunes of mine, because I just think I could have sung that so much better. But anyway, it is what it is. But I think my voice has got better and I'm able to do more with it now. I'm able to get to places, right, that I could hear before, but I could never physically get to. Whereas I think I can now. How long that lasts for before it runs out, I've no idea, But for now, it's probably the best it's ever been, really. I think at my sort of tender age, it could go the other way anytime, but whatever, c'est la vie. But for now, it's great. And live, I never have any problems with my voice live anymore. I never have too much problem hearing it. I never shout. I never have to sort of try and shout above the music. I just sing. And it's just a joy now. It's just a real joy. I mean, I've always loved singing, obviously, but now I feel I'm really in control of it and able to do more with it.
A little one for the fans of the Jam on this. We get Steve Brooks, your old mate.
Yeah.
On a bit of Spanish guitar.
Yeah, great, yeah.
And I had it on headphones. This is the left channel. I think we then have you a bit on the right channel, a bit of bass as well. And then Richard Hawley.
Yeah, on slide guitar. Yeah, that's right.
So did he pop in for a couple and end up in the album?
No, we just sent it up to Sheffield on a truck. And then he sent it back, yeah.
What is it that an artist like him, a musician like him, gives you then that you go, actually, what I need on this is some Richard Hawley?
Well, I knew he could play slide guitar. I mean, he's a brilliant guitarist, isn't he? I think we'd spoken about him playing pedal steel. Can't remember now. Anyway, I knew that he could play it. I knew he could play pedal steel. And I've been trying to work together with me and him for ages and ages. We were going to write a song together. Well, we keep talking about it anyway, which will happen maybe one day. Yeah, I knew that he had a pedal steel and he could play it.
Okay.
Yeah, good enough reason, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you're also always looking for, having written so many songs, over 450 songs I worked out the other day. I've made a list because Steve Pilgrim asked me to. One of the things
is more.
Well, I've probably missed a few. Yeah. I'll get you to check. One of the things that strikes me is how you don't want to repeat yourself. You don't want to cover old ground. So you're always looking for new things. On this, there's a real, I don't know what the musicology of it would be, but there's a key bit where it seems to miss a beat or change a beat. You get like a 4 and a 2. Do you know what I'm saying? No. Probably not. Okay. It feels like you're pushing it in a different direction musically to what the expectation was. About halfway through the song, it goes off in a different direction.
Yeah, but I don't know what that is. I mean, I'm not sort of versed enough in musicology to tell you what that is. The only thing I said to Steve Brooks, and maybe to Hannah as well, is that kind of any reference to would be Bach. And I don't know if they No, I think with what Steve plays, I could hear that. With Hannah, I don't know. But that was the only reference I could hear, like a kind of Baroque sort of thing, I suppose, as well, I don't study that stuff, it's just what I cop and what I hear, and I just think, that's nice, I like that.
But it's that thing of also like there are no rules, so just, because maybe you're not aware of them or you just want to break them.
I think I've got to that point, right, where I don't really I don't differentiate or put into compartments music so much anymore. I just see it as all one thing, like that thing there, like that green line there. It's just like this. Sometimes they can all work together, or bits, we'll just take little bits from them. I've never really studied anything in my life. I haven't got the mind to study anything. I haven't got the patience. So I could be walking past your window and you're playing something, or one of my kid might play me a hip hop track, or whatever it may be, right? There's just little bits. I think, that's nice. I love that. Or I could use that, or I could adapt it. Or sometimes they just subconsciously feed into things as well, Sometimes it's conscious and other times it's not.
A Glimpse of You is, this is a really special song. It seems so simple. Part of it's so beautiful, but it also feels like almost, again, two songs in one, where you've got this soundscape, again, created by Christoph, Super Armad, you with the words and the melody. But you, at times, are almost singing against yourself, overlaying yourself with you.
On the chorus parts.
Yeah, which is such a lovely idea. And does that come to you fully formed? Does that come to you of like, let's try this?
It's a spontaneous thing. Yeah. That's me putting down the lead voice first and thinking, that's what should happen there. So there could become more of a chorus by adding those two voices. But it's not really thought about, no. Not that particular song anyway.
Strings again, Hannah Peel again, arranging strings. This was a session down at Abbey Road. Loads of people turned up to the Abbey Road session. I saw pictures, cast of thousands in the studio too, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a special day out for us, and it's a day out for the boys, isn't it? It's the Beatles studio, it's number 2. So, we're all going to be there. But, with my best friend's coat and A Glimpse of You, Hannah used what Christoph had put down. He put down his own strings, but on a machine. So she kind of worked to his kind of blueprint and just expanded it, made it bigger.
Sleepy Hollow is the next up. Track 9 on the album. Goodnight Sleepy Hollow, Nighttime's on its way is how it starts. This feels like a song maybe that started as a poem for something else. You write all the time, I would guess, but sometimes you write things that aren't necessarily going to become songs with music behind them.
Yeah.
Would that have started out in that type of way, that song?
To be honest with you, I can't remember, but I think I got the words afterwards. And I didn't really know. That's just the first things I've started singing, right? The first thing that come into my head. And I was intending of changing them because I thought, I don't know what that means at all. But I couldn't think of anything else. And I kept going back to this Sleepy Hollow motif thing. It ended up in my mind as being like a little kind of lullaby, really. I think anyway, like for me kids or for kids in general, really. Just a little gentle song. Beyond that, I have no idea. But I just love the mood of it and the kind of the warmth of it,
And was that you at home singing against the backing track into your phone or strumming away on the guitar?
Yeah. It would have started with me just, putting something on my phone, just me playing guitar, playing those chords, la la and a melody, or maybe even singing Sleepy Hollow, even though I didn't even know what it means and I still don't. And so it would just come from that and then I'll just expand on that over time,
The album version I would imagine recorded pretty live in the studio because when you look at it, it's your live band who are with you. It's Steve Craddock, it's Steve Pilgrim, it's Jake Fletcher, Tom Hill on backing vocals. You've got Jacko on flute and sax, Ben Cordelia on drums. So was this a pre-tour? We're about to go off on tour. Was it after the tour? Can you remember when you were in the studio? Oh, Max is on this as well. Max Beasley as well on Vibes.
No, most of it was done before we went on tour. The band's on it, apart from Ben, who plays kit on everything, I think, anyway. And the rest sort of... they came in at different times. We did it different, A lot of it we cut live, but it would just be like, Ben on kit here and me over there on guitar or piano or whatever it may be. Maybe Chopper sitting over here, Craddock. But I think it was just mainly us three, I think, if anything. And sometimes just me and Ben. And then we did overdub after that, I played bass on a lot of songs on the album. In fact, Jake's only on one song and Josh McClory's on playing bass on one song. But the rest, I think I played bass on, anyway.
Let's talk In Full Flight. This is another co-write, another very special song with Tom Doyle, Anth Brown from White Label. Tom, you've known for a while because music journalist by day, talented musician, producer, songwriter. Him with Anth Brown make up White Label, and they worked with you for a while. So they reworked Going My Way for the Saturn's Pattern or Saturn's Peak EP, which is a brilliant version. Remixed Hopper, wrote Moving On for True Meanings with you, and wrote Glad Times from Fat Pop with you. So how did this one come about? Tell me about In Full Flight.
I think they just sent me the backing track. They sent me their backing track which wasn't massively different, but was different from what it ended up like. Another one of those ones I had for quite some time, and I couldn't find my way into it, even though I thought there's something good in this, but I couldn't find my way into the song. So that took a long time to get that together from my end. And then once I kind of had that a bit more established, then we overdubbed the kit and I put a bass on, and we started to overdub on top of what Tom and Anth had done. So there's stuff that we kept to theirs, and then we added a lot of stuff as well. And then we got Say She's. They were over here doing some shows, and they come and done the backing vocals, yeah. That was the thing, yeah, because on the demo they sent me, Tom or Anth, I'm not sure, was playing some sort of string machine thing, keyboard thing, with maybe voice samples, right? So they had this kind of weird, sort of woozy sort of thing to them, the way the nature of the samples were. So I was trying to think of a way of replicating that, but with real voices. I thought Say She could do it, and I think they did a good job on it.
And this is a point in terms of recording before Say She I'm saying it, Say She
Yeah.
have really broken into the mainstream, into the big time. So how had you heard about them? Where did you come across them?
Well, I mean, I'd heard their stuff before. They'd had quite a few releases prior to that. I mean, they've sort of took off and got more notice recently, but I'd heard a few of their songs before that. I love Prism. I don't know if you heard that track. That's a great track. There was another track, I think, Blowing My Mind, maybe it's called. That was great as well. But anyway, I thought there's a couple of things I saw, maybe on YouTube or whatever, where I thought it's quite unusual harmonies they were doing. And I thought that could work on this track. That style could work on this track. Luckily enough, they were over here gigging, and then, they were up for doing it.
Brilliant, isn't it? They just popped down. They popped down for that, or you can't tell us they popped down for other stuff as well? Or
no, they just came down. They'd done a couple of 2 or 3 hours or whatever we were down there for, just hanging out a little bit, and then did the track, and that was it, man. Yeah.
Brilliant. Isn't that great? Soul Wandering, real standout for me. Probably right now, I think my favourite song on the album. This was created with Bobby Gillespie.
Yeah.
So his words?
His words, yeah. And I sent Bobby a bit of a backing track, quite a rough one, skeletal one, and me singing the melody. So we had something to sort of write to, a phrasing to write to. Yeah, and then we just built it back up from that, really. A lot of edits, that's the other thing as well on this record. There's a lot of stuff that we edit as well. I mean, in terms of arrangement as well, not just chopping a track down, but swapping and putting the chorus in here and putting a verse there, and which you're able to do now with the wonders of Pro Tools. Yeah, Bobby just, same sort of thing with Noel. It didn't take very long. I think he sent me back the same night or the next day or something, you know? And I like what he wrote, and it's kind of chimes with a lot of things that I feel. And I guess it's a thing that you get to, if you're lucky enough at a certain age, you got to start to think about these things, and existential matters, I suppose, really, and spiritual matters. And I thought we caught it really well.
You've written together before. There was a period of 22 Dreams period where there was a track called, what was it, Big Brass Buttons?
Big Brass Buttons, yeah.
Which featured on the Will of the People album recently. So have you ever written in a room together? No.
Nah. I have done that with other people, right? We have done that before. I find it really, not always, but generally I find it really difficult. Me and Hawley are always saying, we should write a song. We've been talking about writing a song together for ages. We should get in a room and bash it out. But I was saying we're both too fucked up to do that, right? We're both too nervous or paranoid or whatever it is, or whatever emotion, we're a bit shy, a bit awkward. We'd never be able to do it. It's better this way. We just send each other stuff and ideas, right? And most of the time, for me personally anyway, if I hear something for the first time, I just think, that's something I'll work on, definitely. Or I'll have an idea for it. And other things, maybe I'll come back to, or maybe they just don't work. So for me, doing it remotely, it works well for me.
Isn't it great though? You're getting that back, and those are the words. And you're like, that must just blow your mind. Like, oh my God, this is
Well, it certainly makes it easier. I think the other thing as well, right? I think the older one gets, I think that it's harder to find things to write about, because your experiences don't come as quickly as they do when you're younger. Obviously, these, you kind of live long enough, you sort of think, I've done that, been through that, see how that's going to turn out. And it's so, you're not getting like these kind of revelations every week or something, So I think it's inevitable that you end up writing about the same subjects, me included. I mean, I don't think there's any way around that. I think it's just, how on earth would you think every time of writing 12 songs or whatever with things you've never written about? It's just not possible, man, if you've been doing it as long as I have. So I'm conscious of that. So rather than writing sort of shit or substandard sort of lyrics, I sooner get someone else to write some words, I mean, musically, there's always something to say, but lyrically, maybe there's not. So that's all right. I don't mind farming it out to other people and see what they come up with, It's still creative. It's still part of the process and keeps things moving. And No, it's fine with me.
It's got such a great sound, that song. It's such a soulful song. Again, I can hear that live.
Yeah.
The backing singers on it are terrific as well. It's, it's just really uplifting.
Yeah. That's two girls from Jules' band, Jules Holland's band.
So Louise Marshall and Samadou Jaya Faleka felt like a bit like that was almost like the Carleen Anderson role back in the day, like Wings of Speed type thing.
Yeah.
They just add so much to the song, those two.
Yeah. I just wanted sort of really loud, shouty BVs, like sort of old school sort of ones. And I sung, I don't know with Samadou, but definitely with Louise, I've sung with her a few times with Jules. And I just wanted something strong and loud and just singing out. And
I understand that was the last song you recorded for the album.
that I could not tell you.
And if so, it feels like wherever you're going to go next, there's something in that space of these kind of big soul. That's your DNA. That's kind of part of your fabric that's coming through there. It feels like to me.
In that tune?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But who knows what's next?
I don't know.
Album closer. I mean, this is, again, such a special song, but has been around for a little while, created by Erlen Cooper, a song called Burnout. And anybody who would have had a sneak peek of this on the telly at the beginning of 2023, Johnny Harris, Vicky McClure's ITV drama Without Sin. It was a little bit in the cab when they were driving along, a little bit at the end.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That wasn't a song created for that show, presumably.
No, not at all, no. It was just something that was knocking about, to be honest with you. And it was something that had been finished for some time, maybe even in 2021, you know. It seems like it had been around for a long time. And I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I did think it had a sort of filmic quality about it, and I thought maybe it could get on TV or a film or something like that. Wasn't really thinking of it as an album track at the time. So it's probably a good sort of 2, maybe even 3 years old or whatever. But then when we got to the end of this album, I just thought it'd be a good closer. It's got a big kind of finale, not end of days, but, you know, end of an era. I think it could be end of days. Who knows? But it's definitely an end of an era vibe to it. But I think it's really interesting, right? Because it was written probably in 21. Erlen wrote the words, and there's a lot of references in my mind anyway to the lockdown. I can hear a lot of that in it. This inner circle is bored of you and me. There's no more detailing all that we have seen. You know, that whole thing of like when, I don't know, whichever twat it was, right? So whatever Tory twat it was who said that I should retrain. I shouldn't possibly think about retraining, you know. I thought that was...
what did you learn at that point? Did you go out on...
What do we do, man? You know, what on earth could I do, you know? It was pathetic in a way. But anyway, I think that's what those lines mean to me anyway.
A lot of people, musicians' natural reaction during lockdown was to write a lockdown album. Your reaction was to write Fat Pop, this album full of banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a lockdown song then, but it was Erlen's words, not yours.
The Erlen's words, yeah. And it's definitely a post-lockdown song, I think, in my mind anyway. I don't know what Earl was thinking. I don't know. Maybe the same thing. I
mean, sonically, it goes off in so many different directions, and it's such a bleak song in parts. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
But then uplifting in other areas and things. And so many different layers to it of discovery, which is, I guess, what you want from an album as a whole, but also from a song of, you know, on first listen, you're hearing something, but then when you're going back and hearing it again and again, you discover new bits of it.
Yeah. It is fairly bleak, but it just felt right as a closer, to be honest. I don't think it's pretty appropriate at this time and the way the world is at the moment to end on a sort of joyful, happy, you know, song, really. Wouldn't seem right for this time. It is a bleak time if we're really fucking honest. So I guess for me, that reflects that a little bit.
There are embers of hope, I guess, shoots of hope at the end of the song where you say, I'm not tired of living, I'm all right.
Yeah.
And you sing that. And then it's so beautiful how we lose all the instruments at the end. There's quiet.
Yeah.
And then you come back and I think something along the lines of, that's a take or something like that.
Yeah. We only did that song. We didn't even do 2 takes. We did a little half bit and I just showed the others what the chord structure was. And then the next take was the one we end up using. So, so it was all spontaneous. And when we just chopped it up and edited it, there it was.
Is that a song you could hear yourself playing live?
I don't know. I don't know if it would not bring the house down, but bring the mood down. It might be
a time and a place, maybe.
Yeah, there's a time and place for it. Yeah, maybe in another situation. I don't know if it's right at a sort of, you know, at a gig. I don't know. Who knows? When
you press send, well, I say you, Charles, or somebody is pressing send, and that record's going to the record company. It's closed. It's done. A sense of relief, a sense of achievement. Yeah, but overridden by a sense of fear, I suppose, as well, really. In what sense? Well, just because, I think just that you've been around it all this time for 2 years, in a sense, but especially towards the end, it gets more intense. You're trying to finish things. And then, so you got so close to it and you know it so well and you hear what's good about it and you're not sure about other bits. And then you've got to play it to other people. So that's always a bit kind of nerve-wracking, really, because we think it's good and we've heard it
but we don't know what you're going to think or they're going to think or anyone, you know. You never know until you've heard it. So it's quite, it's a very intense sort of feeling that you first time you play it to someone, you know, however good you feel about it, but you still never know. And also the other thing I've noticed as well is that when you play tracks or an album back, it's very different when you have it, other people in the room. When it's just you in the band or me and Charles, whatever, right? It's one thing, right? Because we know, okay, we'll fix that later on or whatever. But when you're playing it with two other people for the first time, you hear it differently as well. I don't know why that is, but you just kind of hear it in a different way. Just like, oh, okay, what you look at people and you think, what do they like about them, what they don't like, or so that's kind of interesting, I think. But you just have to do your best and what you believe in, and then you put it out into the world and hope other people relate to it or like it.
And you don't ever think about or feel that baggage of what's come before, the legacy, if you like, the jam, the style council, the songs from before, the albums before, and that doesn't wow you.
I think the bar has been lifted for my music to a pretty high standard. And I suppose that's the only thing I'm conscious of, that I don't drop below that. But I don't think, what did we do on the last album or what did I do 20, 30, 40 years ago? I'm not interested in that. It's only what I'm doing now. But there's definitely a standard that's been raised, and I think we have to maintain that.
Two final questions. So you've always thought visually the package of an album is such a special thing.
Yeah.
So Peter Blake,
album
cover on this one.
Yeah.
Again, wow.
Amazing, man, yeah. I mean, I had the idea for it and I thought Peter would be definitely the right person to do it. And yet he was up for doing it, and it really didn't take that long either, a few months maybe or something like that, you know. It's perfect for me. It's amazing. Have you seen it at all?
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's just, 66 but in his style, in Peter's style, man.
Final question. So the album, the tour,
the film.
Oh, no, I forgot to ask about the film.
The book.
Oh, damn it. Let's come back and ask about that. Getting this album out there is really important, obviously. People are also going to go, what's next? So 66, 67, 68, how quickly is the next? You're already on to the next. Your mind's already on to the next thing.
Only in a very vague way. I was thinking about doing a covers album next. I've got this little bee in my bonnet about doing a covers record. And I also don't want to write for a while as well. I just want to switch the machine off for a little bit. But beyond this year, man, I ain't got a clue what's going to happen. I don't know, and we've got tours lined up next year and shows. I'm looking forward to doing all that. But after that, who knows, You can only make sort of plans up to a point, and then you have to see how things go, how things pan out, But I probably would hopefully make some inroads into doing this covers album as well. Not to release it, but just to sort of work on it, see how it turns out anyway.
Hey, look, this has been such a blast. Thanks for taking me through 66. Welcome, yeah. Thanks for sharing it as well, because that's such an honour and such a treat.
You're welcome.
And looking forward to hearing on the big speakers here at Blackburn, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, you will in a bit.
Yeah. Paul Weller, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, there you go. What an absolute blast. It seems bonkers, doesn't it? It took all that time to get the first interview. There we are. Another interview. Paul Weller talking about his brand new album, 66, which is released on May 24th. Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed it, you can still buy a virtual coffee. Just head to my website, paulwellerfanpodcast.com. You'll find all the show notes there, details about 66 that we talked about, and keep an eye on your social media channels as well. Lots of videos from our chat floating around too. Make sure you follow, you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Coming very soon, a massive box set of interviews with loads of people involved in the album. We're talking Suggs, for goodness sake. We're talking Josh McClory, Christophe Vaillant, the Super Armad. Steve Brooks will join us, all right? So many of these podcast episodes, they're all going to land on the 31st, so the week after the album release, Friday, 31st of May. Make sure you follow on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.